Welcome back to Wonder. We left off where Augie's mom was telling him about her visit to the school where she wants him to enroll, and she saw the baby chicks being hatched, and they reminded her of Augie when he was born with those big brown eyes of yours. I usually love when they talk about when I was a baby. Sometimes I want to curl up into a tiny ball, a little tiny ball, and let them hug me and kiss me all over. I miss being a baby, not knowing stuff, but I wasn't in the mood for that now. I don't want to go, I said. How about this? Can you at least meet Mr. Tushman before making up your mind? Mom asked. Mr. Tushman? He's the principal, answered Mom. Mr. Tushman? I repeated. I know, right? Dad answered, smiling and looking at me in the rearview mirror. Can you believe that name, Augie? I mean, who on earth would ever agree to have a name like Mr. Tushman? I smiled, even though I didn't want to let them see me smile. Dad was the one person in the world who could make me laugh, no matter how much I didn't want to laugh. Dad always made everyone laugh. Augie, you know what? You should go to that school just so you can hear his name and said over the loudspeaker. Dad said excitedly. Can you imagine how funny that would be? Hello, hello, paging Mr. Tushman. He was using a fake high old lady voice. Hi, Mr. Tushman. I see you're running a little late today. Did your car get rear-ended again? Again today? What a bum rap. It's so silly. I started to laugh, not even because I thought he was being that funny, but because I wasn't in the mood to stay mad anymore. Isn't that the way it is sometimes? It could be worse, though, Dad continued in his normal voice. Mommy and I had a professor in college named Miss Butt. Mom was laughing too now. Is that for real? I said. Roberta Butt. Mom answered, raising her hand as if to swear. Bobby Butt. She had huge cheeks, said Dad. Nate, said Mom. What? She had big cheeks is all I'm saying. Mom laughed and shook her head at the same time. Hey, I know, said Dad excitedly. Let's fix them up on a blind date. Can you imagine? Miss Butt, meet Mr. Tushman. Mr. Tushman, here's Miss Butt. They could get married and have a bunch of little tushies. Poor Mr. Tushman, answered Mom, shaking her head. Augie hasn't even met the man yet, Nate. Who's Mr. Tushman? Mia said groggily. She had just woken up. He's the principal of my new school, I answered. Oh, so he's already calling it his new school. Oh, that's good. Paging Mr. Tushman? I would have been more nervous about Mr. Tushman if I'd known I was also going to be meeting some of the kids from the new school, but I didn't know. So if anything, I was kind of giggly. I couldn't stop thinking about all the jokes Daddy had made about Mr. Tushman's name. So when me and Mom arrived at Beecher Prep a few days before the start of school, and I saw Mr. Tushman standing there waiting for us at the entrance, I started giggling right away. He didn't look at all what I'd pictured, though. I guess I thought he'd have a huge butt. But he didn't. In fact, he was a pretty normal guy, tall and thin, old but not really old. He seemed really nice. I shook Mom's hand first. Hi, Mr. Tushman. It's nice to meet you again, said Mom. This is my son, August. Mr. Tushman looked right at me and smiled and nodded. He put his hand out for me to shake. Hi, August, he said, totally normally. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hi, I mumbled, dropping my hand into his while I looked down at his feet. He was wearing red Adidas. So, he said, kneeling down in front of me so I wouldn't look at his sneakers but had to look at his face, your mom and dad have told me a lot about you. Well, like, what have they told you? I asked. Sorry? Honey, you have to speak up, said Mom. Like what? I asked, trying not to mumble. I admit I have a bad habit of mumbling. Well, that you like to read, said Mr. Tushman, and that you're a great artist. He had blue eyes with white eyelashes. And you're into science, right? Uh-huh, I said, nodding. We have a couple of great science electives at Beecher. He said, maybe you'll take one of them. Uh-huh, I said, though I had no idea what an elective was. So are you ready to take a tour now? A tour? You mean we're doing that now? I said. You think we're going to the movies? He answered, smiling as he stood up. You didn't tell me we were taking a tour, I said to Mom in my accusing voice. Augie, she started to say. It'll be fine, August, said Mr. Tushman, holding his hand out to me. I promise. I think he wanted me to take his hand, but I took Mom's instead. He smiled and started walking toward the entrance. Mommy gave my hand a little squeeze, though I don't know if it was an I love you squeeze or an I'm sorry squeeze. Probably a little of both. The only school I'd ever been inside before was Via's when I went with Mom and Dad to watch Via sing in spring concerts and stuff like that. This school was very different. It was smaller and smelled like a hospital. And we're going to leave it there. And I am enjoying this rereading. It's been a while since I've read it, and that just shows that it's fun to visit books that you have read before, but you read again. It's like visiting an old friend. It's making me laugh all over again. Until next time.